And it's live. Great. All right. Let's see here. We picked up a local newspaper today, and let's see here. We picked up a local newspaper today. Of course, we were at the city council meeting just yesterday to discuss or to give an opinion. Citizens communication, as we're allowed through the city ordinances they have in place. Um, we had some discussions about how we felt, the whole city manager evaluation type of thing, the projects that are coming out, um, the different items as far as the what I feel that possibly the emergency management, which is fire department, the first responders, police. The public works department, we were talking about raises, how we didn't appreciate, well, not that we didn't appreciate, but we did not agree with them not being compensated, especially through the difficult time of the plague, what we had in February, the winter storm. And we the raise that was given was a little bit higher on a case that we've have put up the little controversial type of nepotism thing. I mean, there were several things that we spoke about uh, having to do with the evaluation with the city manager. Right now, after that meeting, usually what City of Eagle Pass does is they'll have their meeting, they'll record it live, they kill the feed, so it's not live anymore whenever they go to an executive session. But of course, they come back out. Typically, they'll shoot also the camera, the Facebook Live whenever they'll usually do the Facebook Live whenever they have something to say after the session. This time, I was waiting for it on Facebook and it never came out from the city page as far as the live feed of the city council meeting whenever they came out of executive session. Now, what executive session is the governmental body, which is the city council. They are allowed on certain things to discuss, whether it's negotiating, a contract or an evaluation of personnel. Some things are allowed to be done in executive session where things are spoke about. What's discussed shouldn't be public record. That's the whole reason why they're going into executive session, to have a private discussion about what's going on. And through the law, they are allowed to do that. They are. And but the thing that got me whenever we're reading the local newspaper is that they and it's just this is Thursday's edition of the Gram. It came out in the Gram. That there were our news source this time, because like I said, we typically see it on Facebook whenever they come out, and we'll be able to watch it that way. There was, whenever they came back in session, there the evaluation, Elias Diaz mentioned to move forward with certain instructions agreed upon in executive session. So the motion was to go ahead and move forward with what was discussed. Now, it even goes a little further to say no more details were given regarding the matter. So there was kind of a whole, I think that we should have been told a little bit more, and I'm not saying about the Gram. The Gram's just reporting it. There are news sources. I mean, I had to hear it from them because I didn't see the show. They didn't have a show directly. So in talking with or in reading the article, it's going to be on the Newsgram if you guys want to see it yourself. They talk about the evaluation. They said that they were going to go ahead and move on with certain under certain conditions that were discussed already in executive session. Now, my question is that I mean, I traditionally we see a vote. There was no actual vote publicly published about what was there. Any kind of was it a unanimous choice? Was it a split? Did maybe some people didn't agree? We did reach out to the mayor, and he did say that it was a unanimous decision. Um, but I would like to see something that was publicly, stated, or at least come out with, whatever discussion was going to be made, or at least the condensed version of what was the discussion. I understand, the perspective that they do need to be in, executive session for certain items, especially when it's a evaluation of personnel. But I think a little more could have been revealed. A little bit more could have been told to the public. Now, again, going back to what the newsgram says, they have an estimated salary of $146,000 that's coming out of City of Eagle Pass, the residents. That salary comes out of your taxes, the bridge as well, and it all that money comes in as a city budget to be able to pay for his salary, and it's not just one person directly, but it's a collective body that are the residents of Eagle Pass that do pay these salaries. So I guess that was one of the things that was a little bit off about what happened here, was that there was no live Facebook feed afterwards. And again, you have Councilman Elias Diaz mentioned to move forward with certain instructions agreed upon in executive session. So it's a little vague. It's a little vague. I would like to know the conditions. I mean, any kind of conditions on a contract or modifications of a contract should be shown on the contract, and the contract should be available for that's a public records request, and maybe we need to do that. I know we had a copy of it back in March when he was evaluated prior, and we scanned through it and everything, and we needed to, you see, and what surprises me is that I thought there was going to be a little bit more. I don't know the whole story yet. I am trying to schedule a meeting with the mayor, or trying to get with him someday so we can maybe get an explanation, or maybe further. I know when we were there was a lot of discussion amongst what the situation that unfolded between the city council whenever a situation was brought up. But as far as the evaluation goes, I was disappointed, as you're allowed to be as well, because they didn't give us much. Now, this is the number one employee of the city of Eagle Pass. He's the CEO of the city of Eagle Pass, and in any business they hold their CEOs in high regard, and I understand that. But it feels that it's being there's some kind of secrecy out here, and let's be honest. Trying to come out here and act as if you can get away with bare minimum details, it's not. I would expect something like that from the county, because we've been having those kind of battles with county for the longest time, Maverick County. And again, I didn't understand what had happened. It just makes it look a little suspect, because they didn't show the feed, and they were very vague about what was going to go forward. They're obviously they're extending him because he's still employed. We would have known if he had been terminated. But what were the conditions is what I would like to know. Now, it's difficult, just like Joey says, transition and Eagle Pass will never change. I mean, transparency, sorry. And you know what? I don't know if I would ever be around to see the day, or any of us watching, to get full transparency from any government that's going local, state, federal, right? Government. But I think at this level, our local level, there shouldn't be anything to hide or anything to be ashamed of, especially when the decisions that are made are made, with public funding in mind. Um, Decisions are made by people that were voted in by us, the residents, the people that live within the city of Eagle Pass limits. No, no, no. You see, and that's the thing. We don't get to see. I mean, the what it was is, I reached out for a quote from the mayor, and he said that it was a unanimous decision. But I mean, then I don't know why it didn't come out as a unanimous decision here, just to move forward with certain things. I mean, I think they agreed on that, but I think that they were evaluating on what way should it go. What was there any more? Could we get a little bit more than just moving forward with certain conditions? What were the conditions? To me, I think that that's a contractual thing that maybe needs to be changed, or I mean, I'm not sure what happened. I can't speculate too much, because of course I'm just giving you what the newsgram says. Past administration, that I mean, you might be getting yeah, you might be on the right track there. 4-1 vote, Joey. Do you know something we don't, Joey? Do you know something we don't, Joey? Now, I'm a little bit of mixed feelings on this, because you do understand that there were an executive session. I understand everything, and yeah, I understand at times it's needed. But again, I know I'm repeating myself, but they should have given us a little bit more. What kind of stipulations, what kind of conditions, what was said, what was kind of done, because it was a rather brief. Now, again, there's several times that we have heard. I'm telling you directly from me, because there was an issue out at by the junior high, or the old junior high and Glass, right there in that section. I would say, what's that road? It escapes me right now. But there was a drainage on behind Debona. Well, the Debona Street has a drainage right between where the railroad tracks are and the houses are. So there was a mapping done there, engineering plans and everything. And the canal, that drainage easement, was supposed to fall right in there, which kind of ate up into the back of these people's houses. But the drainage was put a long time ago, and it was just a dug out, grassy dirt, small drainage to make water flow through. So now they came in, put rebar, cement, made it a more secure infrastructure to drain out all that water, because they were having drainage issues, and the city council, city manager was there. He came out. And what I was told, not just by 2 or 3 ladies, but it was a group of ladies that were there. I went, and I do still have pictures on my phone about the situation, where, I mean, you can see half of their backyards are getting eaten up by that drainage that the city built. And I understand that's the way the plans, maybe that's the way the plots were sold that way, or what have you. My problem with that situation is when these ladies, and some of them were old ladies, there was some young ones, but they had an issue of the way they were spoken to by the city manager. Now, to me, I think that those things are not acceptable, especially when you are a person that's in a place of leadership, and a place to make decisions and a place to, this is where he's supposed to better. This is his job out here. Take care of people. And that's the first thing you do as a CEO, leader, or whatever of any head of organization. That's what I've learned through experience under, certain people that have been in the lead. And I learned from them, not necessarily to lead, but learned how a structure is supposed to be with the top person. Now, when the top person is talking to anybody with such a disregard for what they're being told, and I'll quote, it was something about they didn't want to do the project, so the city manager kind of walked off and said, y'all can drown then if we don't get to this project in time. And I think that was totally inappropriate. Again, there was a group of ladies that are telling me this, and they're by the Debona, by the junior high Glass. Roy P. Benavides is by there, and it was just very disappointing that having to hear that, and then having to say, other people were cordial. The other group of the people that were there, it's just not. That's not what he's hired for. The city council appoints who is the city manager. They appoint the city attorney. They appoint who else? Any contracts, they have to sign off on them. Big contracts, they got to sign off on them. So yeah, I mean, they're the ones who make the decisions or are overseen. They don't get into too much directly employees, but they, it can happen. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. That's why I brought the situation up. It wasn't mostly, like I said, it's nothing personal. It was a comparison. I do think the first responders, and I had to go through this. I mean, I'm not saying I'm a first responder, but when I worked with Public Works, I helped out with the EOC, the Emergency Operations Center. So when we had a flood in 2013, I ended up having to leave my family, and they had to find somebody, or they had to get a ride out of where we were at. So I had to abandon the head of household over here to come and to work. And there was a lot of other firefighters that, had the same firefighters, a sheriff's department, police department, all of the first responders that were there, public works department. Now, these people, they were having to leave their homes to protect their families, to protect our families, the rest of our families. And I know that was a difficult thing to go through. It was a difficult thing to whenever it did get bad where we lived, it was tough for, I didn't think it was going to get like that. That's why I was, okay, let me go ahead and go. But that's the kind of strain that these EMTs, our firefighters, our police department inside the city limits have to deal with, and did have to deal with, not only during the February snowstorm that we had, and also during the pandemic. And the pandemic's been going on a while, and there's still, for a while they were chasing people with the big deal with the masks and everything, So yeah, they suffered, and a lot of them don't say anything, and I understand. I mean, they want to keep their jobs, right? And it's disappointing that it's like that, but the first responders should have, I mean, if it was any time, any 1 year that they get the highest percentage of raise, any 1 year in the history of the city of Eagle Pass or what have you, if it could have been 1 year that they would have gotten a raise that they needed, I understand maybe last year because of what was going on and everything, they didn't get a raise. But now it would have been the time to reward them. if, like I said, if it would have been at least one time a year, I'm sorry, one time in all the existence of the city of Eagle Pass and everything, one big year that they needed help, we could have helped them, or there was the opportunity to give them a little bit, give them a bigger raise than 5%, especially if there were other examples of more generous salaries or raises given out. Now, that's what I think that is kind of backwards thinking. This was one of the big problems that I did have with, and I wanted to discuss with the city council about the uneven or not thinking of our first responder personnel, because those guys, I mean, they've been through a lot and still going through a lot. You got the law enforcement side. I mean, it didn't stop on their end. Of course, with the fire department, it never stops. But and public works as well, right? But you have the police having to deal now with the situation happening here in the border crisis. So, I mean, these are the things that need to be considered whenever you're evaluating. I'm not trying to tell the city council how to evaluate. I was trying to give them a citizen's perspective of what issues that we see are going on. Yeah, that's all they give is 3 minutes. I was kind of cut off, but I mean that I'm allowed to do 3 minutes. Now, has there been anybody that's done more than 3 minutes? I've attended plenty of meetings that have passed or have allowed people to pass the 3 minutes, but it's I'm not going to argue with that. It's at their discretion, of course. I mean, at least I didn't get yelled at like I probably may have at the Mary County Courthouse, right? But yeah, then that's a great point. That's a great point about what Joey's saying, is that they're out there every single time it rains, because every single time it rains, there are certain areas that get flooded, and you see, hey, everybody, say what's up to Billy chiming in. Of course, Billy from the Lone Star podcast. Yeah, I mean, 5% raise compared to a 13. If we could have given somebody, I mean, I'm not saying it's not well deserved. I cannot tell you that. What I am saying is that I think that there should have been more compensation towards our first responders because of what happened. I mean, it wasn't. I can see it being a difficult situation for somebody that works in an office, but somebody that had to be out there in the front line, leave their families every day, expose their families whenever they came home, especially during the pandemic. And as I explained my example, leaving their families during the snowstorm. I mean, if there was any 1 year they could have given them a decent raise, a living wage. That way, we don't have any situations that happened just recently with the car accident. But you really need to take care of the first responders as every city employee. And there's a lot more going on in the city. There's you can feel the tension inside the city hall. I can tell you that. I don't know if that's coming from city council. There was a full-on reaction after we went to go discuss everything, and I heard that there was or the city councilwoman mentioned some legal decision or recommendation that was made based on the nepotism situation that we brought up that had been a violation of the ordinance. We don't know yet. We haven't heard anything. That was the first time of any response or any kind of paperwork that had come out or had been brought up. So, maybe we would like to see that. One of the things that I did notice right away was that they addressed the other city councilwoman, Ms. Monica Cruz, and I'm not sure exactly why, but it was Hey, there was a tension, right? There was some kind of friction that was going on. The legal team, that's the city council as well, and the city attorney is Langley and Benak. So we'll leave that one there. Um, Fully vaccinated, Max. You're doing some advertisement or what, Joey? Yeah, guys. The thing is that we deserved a little bit more of a story. All of us are seeing what's going by. So she was cleared by the legal team. She helped select. Yeah. So, well, I mean, not that she was cleared. I think it had to do more with the employees, that an opinion from the attorney that why it's okay. Now, I'd like to see if that situation can be maybe the city attorney can ask the way the county did. The county just recently, on some questions that we asked, now let's keep it in line. Now let's see with the situation going on with there. She could have, let's see. Now, I would like to see if an opinion can be brought about through the Texas Attorney General's office on it. I mean, because they asked their own legal counsel, so I could see how they're. Yeah, I mean, I think you kind of put it the best. She wasn't cleared. The employees were cleared, right? Yeah, and that's where I was kind of going with it a little bit. Carl Kid from go hit up the hustle window tints, guys. Doing some great things out there downtown. Um, you cannot have a situation where, to me, if you're asking your own attorney's opinion, your attorney is going to be on your side, right? That's the reason why you hire attorneys. So I kind of understand where they would be given an explanation where like, oh, well, because of this doesn't apply. Now, I don't see how that cannot apply. But then again, guys, the person who has the last decision, the role of the attorney is a consultant, legal consultant to the city manager. That's why we don't see evaluations of the well, no, I think they do evaluate whenever they renew, but you don't see this same type of news coverage over the legal side, because the legal is a consultant to the city manager who has ultimate say as per the ordinance, direction or what gets said personnel wise and all that. That's the city manager, so that's on him. Now, legal was consulted probably on this manner. We were never told about it. It was news to me when I got there, and you know, the way Kid says it, the way she reacted, it was a little bit. It was surprising to me, to be honest. That honestly should have never. Council communication is not anything that is a discussion. It's just to give you your time to say your opinion, and that's what we did. And anybody can do that. You know, anyone can do that. And I invite you guys, if you feel that there's something uncomfortable, how can if there's something that you don't like about going on the budget, or if you need something done that's within the capacity of the city, right? You have all the right to go down there during a city council meeting. There's a form. You fill out the form, and you write down. It's pretty simple what you want to discuss. It's is item on the agenda. they give you your allotted time that they said to discuss with them or say something. Now, as far as what happened there, I've never seen anything like that. I had several years where I would have to go to the city council meetings as an employee. I had never seen a reaction like that. And it caught me by surprise. Now, the thing that I didn't like, or not that I didn't like, but what was even more, I guess, telling was whenever there seemed to be a little battle within the city council, there seems to be a drift. And yeah, I mean, that is well said. Well said. I mean, they went through a tough time, guys. We're still going through the tough time. And these guys have been so traditionally underpaid, not taken care of, and that's one of the main things that we did want to make sure to hit on. And personnel decisions go back to the city manager. So the city manager had to sign off on that move right there. The discrepancy or the uneven raises, that was the city manager. I'm not, I did not say that it was any of the city council had to do it with the city council, but they did approve the budget. They approved the budget, and they're responsible for every number in there, each and every one of them, which is why I was very respectful of the way Miss Monica Cruz abstained through all the voting, because she was not comfortable with some of the way that things were being done. And kudos to her, because that's you don't see that every day. That's not something that comes out all the time regularly. No, not at all. And like I said, it all goes back to the city manager, and that's the reason why we wanted to make sure and attend this meeting to discuss and let them know that some of these projects that are coming out, and I saw some of the projects there. And some of them are, great projects. I've seen some being on hold since when I worked with the city, and now they're moving forward, which is a couple of years, but that's great. I love these ideas. But what we need to do is, if we can go out and do so many projects, why not do something for, the guys that are out there each and every day taking care of us? I mean, employees are important just as much as the city, because you know what? If you don't take care of your employees, the employees will not respond. They're the ones out there taking care of the city. They're the ones cutting the grass on the Eastmans. They're the ones picking up the trash. They're the ones patrolling. They're the ones that jump into burning buildings to get us out. They're the ones who take care of our park facilities. They're the ones who take care of our tax dollars. They're the ones who take care of our streets, our drainages. Now, how wouldn't it be a good idea to get these guys a little bit more money, make it a little bit more even, instead of the big difference? Now, again, has nothing to do whether it's deserved or not, but you can't tell me, no one's going to say that law enforcement, fire department, public works, they deserved a lot more, especially what they have gone through. We're just talking about the way it kind of seems a little bit shady. The way they did not show the city manager's evaluation. They didn't say anything other than, quick recap, anything other than Elias Diaz motion to move forward with certain instructions with agreed upon inside executive session. Executive session, I understand that. They got to have that. But why didn't they tell us what conditions they did or what was going on with that situation? Now, they're making a lot of, renovations as such. We saw renovations to the golf course, to parks, and yes, we need that. I'm not saying we don't, but I'm saying, why can we assist some of these other employees that are overlooked for some reason? And you know what? Billy makes a great point, because I've had discussions with people, not just in the city, but also outside the city, that have mentioned that they never really see the guy around. We are going to try to reach out to him and see if we can set up a meeting with him, hopefully alive, right? But now that they extended him, I would really like to speak with him, or somebody, so we can get explained at least the full story as to what conditions, what's going to happen, why is this situation, when there is concerns being brought up, why is it not looked into? And I've always come in working with the city, they always try to look a certain way. They always try to present a certain way. And I think that's counterintuitive to what politics or political science, or individuals such as us, such as them, is made for. Whenever you try to represent a certain thing that we all agree that this person's here just to not look bad, to the public, to residents, or anything like that, I have an issue with that, because you need to make sure that it's not about being liked. It's not about showing that you have unity within a governmental body. It's about what is the right thing to do. What is the right thing to do? And that's how it should always go back to, is doing the right thing. Now, if you feel there a certain way, you feel a certain way, and everybody has their opinion, but this form of wanting to show such a strong unity, that's just not intuitive to who we are and what government is built for. Government is built on discussion. Government is built on an honest government. Is built by discussion, by debate. That's why they have debates at the state level. Now, wanting to come out and say there's a unity between, or that everybody decided the same thing, I think that may not be the whole truth, the full truth. Now, there are several concerns. There are a lot of stuff that the projects that we have spoken that do not necessarily fit. Scooters, that we didn't agree with the way they handled the funding, the first big funding that went out to with the EDA grant. They could have helped out the public a little more, individual assistance, rental. Now they're coming out with rental assistance with the American Rescue Plan that they came out, and now they're only allotting about, what was it, 400,000 to give as help with utilities, help with rent, help businesses, and you need to go apply with them. But they were given millions, and a lot of it was taken into a lost revenue account, where any revenue they would have lost, they could have done that. And I believe that that money was funded into the complex, if I'm not mistaken. And to me, I think that we should have been able to come up with programs to directly help the citizens more, rather than try to take care of the city, because that's the kind of feeling that I got. Now, a city is not there to make money necessarily. Of course, they have to break even every year. That's why they have a 0-0 balance. That's how government needs to be. And yes, you can separate stuff out. And I think they've done a good job of that, building it. That's why they have so many projects that are going to come up. But again, like one of the CIP projects that we're presenting, and they have a bunch of splash pads, and which, that is very much needed. And I applaud them for going that way with parks. There was a lot of stuff that got kind of lost several years ago. I know when Mr. Chavez was in charge, and then George Sanchez, that they try to improve as much funding as they can. But I think they have enough funding now where they're going out. But who are the people that are going to be taking care of those things? And that's what we need to always remind ourselves of, or at least I would be reminding myself of. Yeah, you see. And there was one project that I did have to, that kind of got me. I don't know why or how or what, but a membership driven recreational facility. Now, I know to build something nice and all that, but that's a business venture. Of course, the city needs to be business savvy, but I'd like to know how much something like that would cost for membership, because you'll be leaving, some demographics, some people out here were working class citizens, and maybe some people won't be able to afford to get to that rec center. Now you're just practically segregating people into different sections here, which our community is not used to. And it's difficult because stuff like that costs a lot of money. And I know I'm not saying they're going to do it tomorrow or the next day, but I think some of these projects, and they're approved again by the city manager, are getting a little too, Austin-ishy, or, a big type of metropolitan area type of parks and situations out there. And we're just, that's not us. That's not Eagle Pass. We are not there yet. Yes, we're growing. Absolutely. We're growing. We should have been somewhere right behind Laredo if things were done a little bit differently in the old times. But whether we know it or not, our community, we're a conservative community. We were all born, growing up. Maybe we might be headed a little bit, off with the youngsters there. They like to have some fun, but we are a conservative community. And trying to bring some of these ideas from a bigger city that is not necessarily a good fit. It's like you're trying to put a round peg into a square hole. It's just, that's not who we are. And hold up, hey, you want sidewalk? You want scooters? How about fixing, our sidewalks first? Because how are you even going to run a scooter, in the middle of the street? Then what's going to happen in the middle of those streets? And those are the things that need to be taken in consideration before even discussing the situation, publicly, I would think, because these are not well thought out plans. That's not a scooter, a $3.5 million to renovate the city's own building when people were losing facilities because of the pandemic. And some of our, bigger venues only got last time about $3,000, $5,000. And there was nothing done to assist those that had to leave regular employment, to take care of their family, to take care of their kids. I know there was a lot of people that had to leave their regular jobs to take care of their children at home because of the pandemic. So they started jobs, and now you see a lot more entrepreneurship going on, which, yes, I understand that, you got to build an incubator to assist those. But when is the incubator going to be built? 2 or 3 years down the road? 2 or 3 years later, when we're no longer in a pandemic? Those are things that need to be well thought out. And it's not even maybe well thought out. It's having common sense, simple common sense to say, hey, what comes first, the horse or the carriage? Mis Cavazos, Araí Cavazos. So fix our streets and sidewalks first. I mean, that should be the first obvious thing, is that why are you bringing scooters here? Yeah, parks did get fixed, and parks, they are fixing the streets out there. I will say they are fixing streets. It's just they don't dedicate them enough money. City council is tasked with a job to prioritize these projects. Now, yes, we have been undervalued as a community to have different recreational areas. I think that was one of the main things that lacked in the city of Eagle Pass. But it's just like the city council said, there's still like they had a city master plan. When I was there, we went out, we paid a city planner, or not, it wasn't a city planner, but we paid a professional planners to come down. They created a master plan for the parks that cost a good chunk of change, right? So they went through all the trouble of designing. They went through all the trouble of going through with this project, with that. We're going to design this walking trail. We're going to design, this is the way the walking route should go, this and that. Now it's like if all that has been scrapped and they're coming up with new ideas again. So they're wasting money going over and over and over and over with the same purpose, because they already have a parks master plan in place. Now, if it needs to be updated, I haven't heard anything recently about it being updated, but I do see that they're moving with different types of plans now that the complex is built, which is understandable. But then why spend so much money on another plan that came out on this end over here? Now, as far as implementing any kind of plans that have to do with our structure, our infrastructure moving forward, it just hasn't been presented. And that's what I think that you can give I think it needs to be updated. I do know, like I mentioned, there was a parks master plan a while back, and they have moved away from that, and have gotten, I guess, a new one, or they needed an updated one. But there's a lot of meat left on the bones, as they say, right? To be desired with the performance that the city manager has been doing. And it has not been one time, and it has not been two times that yeah, I mean, it should be everything that a city provides, I believe, should be available to at least entrance to these facilities should be readily available for anybody that wants to enter them. And it's difficult, especially when they're coming up with rec club ideas, and not providing more of opportunities for people to be able to attend, to be able to speak, be able to be a part of what traditionally, I mean, look, the big thing that they have is that too many pet projects who does it serve, who does this, or who will it benefit, that gets taken into account, unfortunately. And it's always the minority that benefit from some of these projects rather than the majority, which is the rest of us out here. So that's a situation that has been happening and will continue to happen unless the silent majority starts keeping the community leaders, which is city council that we're talking about, accountable. Accountability is, and Billy has a good point. He came in as an economic development director into the city of Eagle Pass. He has no city manager experience. Now, if somebody were to come around like that, I would think that he would be on a little bit of a shorter leash, because he doesn't have the experience that we would like for him to have as a city manager. Now, as far as economic development, I don't think our city in the past year has done too much. Now, to be all fair, he came in during a time of the pandemic, but as we're going through, we're seeing that he's being well compensated. But what is he being compensated for? Now, again, we have said multiple times that there has been several his employees that have said or have mentioned, and people from outside, that he just does not participate too much in operationals and not very knowledgeable about what's going on. And we're trying to, we will ask for a we will ask for an interview with him, and we can ask him a little bit to see if he would be up for it, to discuss some of the situations, and we can discuss why these projects, or why he agreed with some of these projects. We would love to have him on the show to ask. But it's just, sometimes whenever you do not come from this area, you can very easily brush off what the people actually need, what the people want, what the people deserve from our area. And I think it's unfortunate that the decisions that are being made just do not add up, just do not equal to that statement of taking care of our community entirely, which includes, city employees, the people that take care of us. Yeah, no, there's no sidewalks to be riding scooters in. Absolutely. And the first time that we had actually mentioned anything about decision making with the city was the 3.5 million EDA grant to make renovations to the Riskins building, to where the museum, future museum, I think, that was going to be there, the culture center. And they're doing great things out there. I applaud them. I think that they're doing a good job with bringing arts in, and they may need to bring more art and culture into our community. But you need to think of where we're at, what we were going through, and if we're able to make certain decisions, we have to weigh them out, where it doesn't look like, yeah, it's good idea, right idea, wrong time. And I think that that's probably well said, or is well said. Okay, well, Joey's saying we need to keep Maverick County great again by voting for County Judge David. So sad. Hopefully we'll be able to attend the next meeting with Maverick County whenever they have their meeting. I think it's on Friday at noon. But we'd like to ask if they can start giving us or providing for the public the backup information about some of these budget amendments that they're doing. Because, guys, the easiest way to hide I don't want to say hide money, but the easiest way to misrepresent, and I've seen this done, is when they leave vacancies on certain positions, and then from that vacancy is still getting paid certain money. So let's say you have a position of, let's say, finance or assistant finance director, right? So let's say nobody's working in that position for the whole year. So you save a whole year's salary that already got accounted to that. At the end of the year, what some clever people do is take that leftover, put it into, oh, hey, we can use it for this project, that project. Now, that's one way of moving money around. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. That comes with accounting and budgeting correctly. But when the community is not shown what movement is being done, I think that is a cause for concern, because you should know where money is being moved to, and we should be told where dollars are being exchanged, because we expect, if we voted for a budget, or if the council approves a budget, and then they think that the assistant finance director position is going to be budgeted for, and then somebody's going to work and spend that money and then not, and then comes back and says, well, we'll gather this leftovers, we'll be buying this, that. That's not the way things should work unless you disclose it to us, because that's not being going back to transparency with the county. And now it's starting to kind of feel that we're being it's kind of starting to feel like we're being pulling the wool over our heads, right? Going back on the comments, guys. We've been talking, not making it too interactive. Yeah, Billy Perez, his brother won't vote for you guys. Oh, wow. That's a lot. Guys, scooters at the Easy Pond. Breaking news from Billy Perez. Yeah. Yeah, guys. Well, I mean, that's what I wanted to bring to y'all. There was definitely something that happened, because the city council meeting did not come back on after the initial break that they took for executive session. For some reason, Facebook Live did not run the video for them, or anything. We found this news out through, again, a news source, the Newsgram. They reported on it that they would move forward with the current city manager under certain circumstances. So that's what we wanted to discuss. We kind of felt that we're not being told the whole story here, and it's difficult to assess the situation when we don't know what the situation is. Now, if there were certain conditions, moving forward with certain conditions or certain instructions, that's not a round of applause, or that's not something to write home about. And that's what we're trying to figure out in this situation, is that what was it that was said behind these walls? What was the compromise, if any? And was this really a unanimous decision on behalf of the city council? And we hope to sit down not only with the city manager, but also the mayor, so we can find out what's going to happen. I mean, they're the ones who put it out, man. I mean, they're the ones who put it out first. Like I said, we weren't able to, Paco. We weren't able to because they didn't show anything on Facebook. I had to come back. I had the Lone Star. I had the Lone Star podcast with Billy Perez over here. Nothing. The last we heard was about a month ago, and they said that we're going to get a professional group to come in and assess that situation. we have not heard anything about a new chief of police or what's going to happen on that. Um, Hopefully they give us some kind of indication, or we can ask if I were to go and meet with anybody. Hopefully we can get an interview and we can go ahead and ask the mayor about what's the status on the new police chief, if we're going to have one, hopefully by the end of the year. Yes, thank you, Marta, for saying that. Like, I think more than ever, especially now, since these entities themselves are self-proclaimed transparent, they need to start providing the old way. The Eagle Pass work is only a select bunch is included in the information. Only, no, we can't give that information. Always trying to hide the actual truth of what is actually happening, and that's an old mentality type of way that I probably, well, no, it's still going on right now. As you can see, that it definitely happens in the county, and at time the city looks like that it could get shades of transparencies. I believe they're going to have some GPS, so I don't think it's that hard to take those off, but it would be very funny to get some of those scooters in and have them go MIA, right? We'll see them in Piedras whenever we head out over there. But guys, thank you very much for tuning in. We wanted to make this just a brief summary, and just because we saw the news pop out of what was going on with the decision that was made with the city council, and it just left some meat on the bones. What was actually happening? We would like to think why would you come out with really no explanation? And I think that we deserve an explanation of the full story that's going on, and we would appreciate if we can get that going. Guys, again, appreciate you. Thank you guys for tuning in. Yeah, thanks, Paco. Guys, we need to appreciate it, guys. We need to keep on holding both the city, both the county, all of those entities do need to be allowing us to access records, and that's all I'm trying to demonstrate. And I wish, and I invite more and more people to go out there and ask questions. Get out there, and if something is wrong, speak your opinion. Speak your opinion, and let us know what not just the city council, but the rest of the community, and that's where any kind of opinions can be taken into account and discussed upon. And in this case, we would like to know, what was going on in the city council and executive session, a little bit more of an explanation than there actually was, because there was bare minimum, left a lot to be desired there. He's going to get extended, but what conditions were given, what conditions were said, what's going to happen in that situation, right? Well, that's all, guys, that I have, but I thank you for joining in and appreciate you guys coming down, taking some time, watching the show. If you guys can share this, like this, please. As you know, we had 4 pages that were knocked down. There were 4 pages that were knocked down, and we're trying to get our message across. We're trying to gain the following that we had before, and we really appreciate it if you share, like this page. If you can support us in that way, we really appreciate it. We do need to give a quick shout out to some of our sponsors, of course, because they're the ones who keep this show going with their sponsorships. Again, you can hit us up with Cash App, $ The Rising Texan Media. We got Rodriguez Consulting and Services, 830-971-4068, guys. Hit them up for some business consulting if you need to set up your next business. Offices of Edgar Juarez. Better call Juarez, 830-752-0686. El Agave Liquors, 830-757-6655. Viva Canine Dog Training, Grooming and Boarding Center. Your little furry friend needs a bath, needs to be taken care of. 830-513-3523. Wagon Wheel Smokehouse and Saloon. The best barbecue in town. Guys are going to have a Halloween party. Make sure they're going to have a live band. If you guys have a chance, go ahead and attend. Saturday night, Halloween costume, October the 30th. If you guys want to have some fun, dance, have some drinks, and look at these guys. I invite you guys. Come. It's a real chill atmosphere. Have some fun. Wear some costumes. Get it done before October 31st for Halloween, when you have to go out and trick or treat with the kids, right? So thank you very much. We appreciate everybody watching. We appreciate our sponsors. If you're interested in sponsoring the show, please give us a call, 830-968-0344. Or you can go ahead and send us a chat, send us a message, tell us what's going on, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. So thank you to everybody that came and watched. We appreciate it. Have a nice night.